From Boston to Palo Alto, college football is racing toward a great 1982 season. Before the opening kickoff, there are a host of fascinating questions to be answered. Can anyone stop Herschel Walker in his run to the Heisman? Will there be another Cinderella team to puzzle the pollsters, as national champion Clemson did last year? Why is the passing attack taking over college game plans across the country? Will Notre Dame be able to rebound from last year's disappointment? These questions and many others will be answered in this action-packed hour of gridiron excitement. In conjunction with the American Football Coaches Association, Tel Ra Productions is proud to present Pigskin Preview 82, an inside look at college football.
Mr. Copa?
Yes.
I'm your Bell System Yellow Pages representative. I'm here to help you.
Well, I'm in the book. What more can I say?
The Bell System Yellow Pages can do the talking for you. You know, the food is great.
Mama does all the cooking.
Well, say it.
I said it.
Say it here in the Yellow Pages, where 4 out of 5 people let their fingers do the walking.
Mama, he's here to help us.
Really? Give him my apron.
Get the Yellow Pages talking.
Mama does all the cooking.
Let your fingers do the walking.
This life isn't for everybody, but for me, nothing beats it. And nothing beats my skull either. I just take a little pinch and put it between my cheek and gum. Sure feels good. I think going smokeless is the only way to go. And for me, Walt Garrison, this is the only way to live. Try going smokeless with Skoal, Copenhagen, or Happy Days. A pinch is all it takes.
There's an average of 2 touchdown strikes in every college game. Unbelievably, 1 out of every 3 plays is a pass. More teams are eating up more yardage with more passes than ever before. But only 50% of all the passes thrown ever reach their intended receivers. For college football, the pass has become the ultimate weapon. Some live by it, and some die by it. However, one thing is certain. If teams are to thrive in the 80s, they must go airborne.
Now! 6:55! 6:55! Hot! Hot!
A skilled quarterback is often a prerequisite to success. For the past 2 years, Pittsburgh's Dan Marino has gained national attention for his aerial handiwork. New coach Foge Fazio has learned why Marino is nicknamed the Iceman.
Well, I remember the first time that Danny walked in the pit locker room as a freshman, and Hugh Green and Ricky Jackson, they named him the Iceman right off the bat. I watched Danny compete in high school, both as a football player and a baseball player. He's a very competitive guy, wants to win very badly. He's always been in a role where he's been the leader, and because of the pressure and the role that he plays, audibilizing, making the right play selection, he just can't lose his cool, and he is truly a nice man.
I guess they call me that because I kind of not let things bother me. I try to always look to the next play and concentrate on what's happening then. Before the ball is snapped, you're thinking about what coverage they're playing, and if the play that you had called will work, and if they're disguising coverage, you have to keep your eyes open after the ball is snapped to see what coverage they go into, or try to see what coverage they go into. All the time you can't do that, but that's basically what you try to do, and once you find out if the play will work, then you run it, try to make it successful. If it won't work, you try to change the play to something that will work. It's tough sometimes to be able to read after the snap of the ball, and that's an art that takes a little while to get the hang of, and I'm still learning.
In the process of learning, Danny has established 10 new pit passing records and has connected on 59 touchdown strikes in only 3 years. With the success of Danny Marino and other quarterbacks across the country, The passing game is becoming firmly rooted into the psychology of college football.
Grinding out 2 yards of a cloud of dust, I think those days are gone. The passing game is very, very necessary if you're going to be a consistent winner.
For the past 3 years, no team has won more consistently than the Panthers. In '82, they hope to top their '81 Sugar Bowl victory with the national championship. However, in the East alone, there will be rugged competition. Last year, the Panthers received their only loss from cross-state rival Penn State. However, if Joe Paterno's team is to reign supreme in the East, a defense decimated by graduation will have to be replaced, and a new set of linebackers will have to take charge. But Kurt Warner, last year's Fiesta Bowl MVP, will be blazing the way for another strong Nittany Lions season. Syracuse will be looking for a star runner to replace Joe Morris, and the defense will have to hold the fort until second-year coach Dick McPherson can find a new quarterback. In '82, the West Virginia Mountaineers have the toughest schedule in school history, with opponents like Oklahoma, Pitt, and Penn State. The Middies of Navy will be reorganizing under new coach Gary Tranquil, and spirits will be high. In the Ivy League, Yale again looks strong, but Cornell should be the most improved team in the league if the offensive line can bust open some holes for their flashy tailbacks. Football was born with the Ivy League teams, and the tradition and excitement of Eastern football is carried on to this day. From the Ivy League schools like Harvard, Princeton, and Dartmouth to the independents like Temple, Rutgers, Boston College, and Delaware, Eastern football offers a spectrum of tradition and school pride for every fan.
The Blue Ridge Mountains and Milwaukee, Wisconsin are half a country apart. But to these guys, both places mean something great. The Blue Ridge Mountains mean bluegrass music, and Milwaukee means beer. Cold, crisp, old Milwaukee beer. And now, the smooth, golden light taste of old Milwaukee Light. Man, do they sound good together.
And old Milwaukee tastes as great as its name.
Out of the blue comes the ice blue freshness of Aquavelva. Out of the blue comes the Aquavelva man. Looking for the light scent, the clean scent, the fresh scent that comes from out of the blue. There's something about an Aquavelva man. Be one.
In Clemson, South Carolina, the memories of last year's national championship are still fresh. But since 1950, only one team, Oklahoma, has been able to do a #1 encore in both polls. The Clemson Tigers were only the second Atlantic Coast Conference team in history to win the national title. But it is unlikely that this Cinderella team will make it past the midnight hour again. 11 starters are gone, including 80% of the offensive line. Even though the '82 schedule is fairly easy, the Tigers will find that, like Rodney Dangerfield, they still can't get no respect. In Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Coach Dick Crum's team keeps getting more respect. If running back Kelvin Bryant can stay healthy, the Tar Heels may take over Clemson's title. At NC State, opponents will quickly learn to back off from the Wolfpack's hungry defensive backs. Georgia Tech might have its first winning season of the Bill Curry era as some quality recruits begin to blossom. One former ACC coach, Maryland's Jerry Claiborne, has moved on to further challenges in the Southeastern Conference. At Kentucky, Claiborne, a former Wildcat defensive back, hopes to rebuild the football program by returning to the basics.
Steve, that way, Steve, that boy. That's the way to work, Steve. That way to work, Jerry. That's the way to work. That's the way to work. Come on now, Jerry. Short step. Now, everybody concentrate on a short, hard driving step.
Jerry Claiborne's former coach at Kentucky, Paul Bryant, has produced 6 national championship teams in the Southeastern Conference. Since 1958, the Bear has built Alabama into the most impressive football dynasty in history. Besides Coach Claiborne, 43 of Bryant's former players or assistants have become head coaches in college or professional football. All are unanimous in proclaiming the football genius of Coach Bryant.
He could motivate the players. Sometimes it was through fear, sometimes it was through love, sometimes it was through loyalty. But he could motivate the players, and he got the maximum from whoever was playing. They went out there, they gave it everything they had, and I think this is the thing that really set him apart from a lot of people.
Well, he is a football fanatic. There's no question about that. He is involved in a lot of other things, but the only thing that is really, really important to him is football.
If the situation had be approached to me that if I had to choose one coach, and you know this is covering a lot of area, but if I had to choose one coach to be in a certain situation out on the field, you know, who would I choose or who would I feel comfortable with? I'm sure there are a lot of coaches could handle it. But I'd probably feel very comfortable with Coach Bryant there at the helm because he's the most unpredictable person I've ever been around. Just as soon as you think that, you know, out on the field that they wouldn't employ a certain kind of a defense, well, you better look out. That defense is coming up. It seemed like that he's able to read your mind, and of course I think that's what master psychologist is all about.
Master psychologist and gridiron wizard, the Bear has survived through 38 years of change in college football. In the early years of the game, a coach named Amos Alonzo Stagg amassed a staggering 314 career victories. Stagg's record seemed insurmountable, but on November 28, 1981, Coach Bryant added the crowning achievement to his years of success. In a nationally televised game against Auburn University, Paul Bear Bryant officially became college's winningest coach with victory number 315. In 1982, the Crimson Tide will have to perform flawlessly if they hope to win another SEC championship. They will be in a dogfight with Tennessee, Mississippi State, Florida, and an awesome team from Athens, Georgia.
Yay, dogs! Yay, dogs!
How about them dogs? Yeah, dogs!
With the top dog, tailback Herschel Walker in the huddle, Bulldog followers will be remembering the perfect season of 1980. Gone is Buck Ballou. Gone is Lindsey Scott. Gone are 8 other starters. But with the best recruiting crop in the nation, and with Herschel unleashing his power, Georgia fans could again be treated to another dream season. At the University of Florida, Charlie Pell could culminate his rebuilding of the Gators with their first ever SEC championship. With 20 starters returning, including blue-chip quarterback Wayne Peace, the Gators will have few weaknesses anywhere. The Louisiana State Tigers will be looking to avenge last year's poor record, and they will be hitting with a vengeance. At Southern Mississippi, the change of skippers from Bobby Collins, now at SMU, to Jim Carmody should go smoothly. With a solid passing attack, 1982 could hold another bowl bid for the Golden Eagles. The Florida State Seminoles will be looking for another Orange Bowl bid. In their backfield will be the best sophomore running back in America, according to Coach Bobby Bowden.
Greg Allen seems to have some God-given talent. Physically, he's very fast, and he's strong. He's got a lot of desire. He's got a lot of pride to want to be the best. And you put all that together,
then his future looks bright.
With the veteran offensive line clearing the path, the 200-pound sophomore should dazzle and dominate opposing defenses. After winning the starting tailback slot as a freshman, Greg Allen could become a household word, the likes of Herschel Walker and Marcus Allen. The University of Miami struggled under 6 head coaching changes in 10 years, until Howard Schnellenberger took the reins in 1979. With an extensive career in pro football as an assistant with the Dolphins and head coach of the Colts, Schnellenberger brought his intricate knowledge of the passing game to the university. In the last 3 years, the Hurricanes have raised the passing attack to a fine art behind the arm of a young man with a direct approach to the game.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes. I learned a long time ago that the quickest way to get from here to there is through the air.
Jim Kelly has been compared to Joe Namath by Schnellenberger, who was Broadway Joe's mentor at Alabama. At Miami, Kelly is coached by former All-Pro Earl Morrill. Through Morrill's valuable lessons, Kelly's game has become a living example of the pass as the ultimate weapon of college football parity. In one quick strike, a game can be won. A pass can change a David and Goliath battle into a fair fight. In 1982, rifle-armed Kelly and his inspired crew should be making a strong bid for the honor of being crowned number 1.
I'm Pete Rose, and I'm convinced Grecian formula helps me play younger. Yeah, play younger. When I started getting gray, I felt sort of out of shape. Gray hair can sure change how a guy feels about himself. So I got some Grecian, real easy to use, and in a couple of weeks, no more gray.
Grecian formula. It does away with as much gray as you want, some of it or all of it. And the change is so gradual and so natural looking, no one notices.
Feeling in shape is important. Get rid of your gray with Grecian formula. You'll play younger, too.
Schick Super 2 announces.
Macho shave. Get Super 2 for the macho shave.
Don't just get close. Get macho close with Schick Super 2. Each twin blade home to the ultimate sharp. For shaves so close, they're
macho close.
Also fits Atra and Track 2 razors.
Macho shave.
Get macho close.
Schick Super 2.
For the millions and millions of fans that pack stadiums from Amherst, Massachusetts to San Diego, California, football Saturdays are different from any other days of the year. The football game has become an epic emotional battle with long-standing rivalries. It is a game in which, within the twinkling of an eye, any 19-year-old can turn into Superman in shoulder pads. In the ebb and flow of emotions, heroes are created. No matter how old or young one might be, that team out on the field is our team. When they do something well, we exalt. For many players, fans, and even coaches, heroes become important role models throughout their lives.
Well, actually, I guess my first hero was Babe Ruth, because the first book I ever owned was given to me on a birthday, and it was a book on Babe Ruth.
I remember a player here at the University of Nebraska named Bobby Reynolds was a great player back in the 50s, and I certainly idolized Bobby at that time.
Well, I've had a lot of heroes. I guess as a sports hero, Stan Musial.
I would pick Pete Rose and Sugar Ray Leonard. I think that those two guys exemplify what athletes should be like in competition.
In many athletes' lives, there is one person they have been looking up to since they were children.
If there was a hero, it had to be my dad. My dad is a special person I could talk about. I think he helped me a lot. He actually was probably the best coach I've ever had because he taught me a lot of things about fundamentals, and he spent the time with me when I was younger.
One player who has had the good fortune of growing up with his hero is Billy Ray Smith, defensive end for the University of Arkansas. His father, Billy Ray Sr., was an all-pro defensive tackle with the Baltimore Colts and is now a financial consultant in Dallas. From his tough hitting in 2 Super Bowls, Billy Ray Sr., number 74, gained notoriety for his hard-nosed, relentless pursuit of opponents. Watching the Colts games on Sundays, Billy Ray Jr. learned that constant work and desire were the keys to his father's success. From a very early age, Billy Ray Jr. displayed the talents that would propel him into the limelight as one of the nation's premier defensive ends and a consensus All-American.
Well, my brother and I both started when we were really young. Back in the 2nd grade is when I started playing organized football. When I was back in 9th and 10th grade, and I'd get some advice from somebody that had been in pro football and, you know, try it out on some of these guys that maybe not had the same benefit. A 9th grader using some tips that, you know, an old pro would use, definitely going to have an advantage.
Well, basically, he started out playing actually in Westminster, Maryland, on a Little League team when I was still playing with the Colts, and he just kept playing and progressed through the years, and looked like he had the talent to play, and he had the desire to play. And I think, you know, if you've got the talent and the desire, well, those are 2 most important things you can have.
Even within 1 generation of the Smith family, it is apparent that the game and its athletes have changed drastically.
The game it's a lot more popular, and the boys are bigger. These boys, by and large, are bigger boys. They're faster boys, and probably a little bit smarter. Get better coaching all the way along. Better high school coaching, better college coaching. I can remember when I was in high school, I had 1 coach. Then I went to college football, and we probably had 4 or 5 coaches on the staff, as compared to staffs nowadays may have 12, 15 guys on it. I don't know if conference sets a limit on them now, but, you know, they have a lot more coaches, a lot more time to work with them. Weight programs have become a lot more popular with the players today than they were when I was playing. They used to say, don't lift those weights, they'll bind your muscles up, you know. And, of course, now they're saying, well, you want to lift those weights, you know, it'll help you get stronger, see. So training methods changed through the years. I think diets are probably better, a lot more vitamins, you know. So by and large, I think the boys are better football players today than they were when I was playing, and they're probably going to be better 20 years from now than they are today.
Under the leadership of Billy Ray Jr., and with a fearsome attack from both sides of the line, Arkansas could charge into the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. The rest of the Southwest Conference promises an overabundance of exciting action. In '81, the Southwest teams had the best record against non-conference rivals, and this year the SWC might have a couple of national championship contenders. At Southern Methodist University, new coach Bobby Collins takes over the reins in an enviable position.
Well, I think you always would like to go in as a defending champions, because basically that means you've been there, that your great majority of your players have played under those conditions, and I think it means a great deal to them to be defending the conference championship. So I'd like to take the defending champions into the season each year.
For '82, the Mustangs are loaded with talent. A stingy defense should win some games for SMU, but their strongest area will be their offense. The fastest, strongest tandem of running backs in the nation, Craig James and Eric Dickerson, should both easily rack up 1,000-yard seasons. Look for Dickerson, the SWC Offensive Player of the Year in '81, to press Herschel Walker as the nation's leading rusher. At Houston, quarterback Lionel Wilson will need some quality receivers and runners if Coach Bill Yeoman's Cougars are going to make it through their tough schedule. Texas is overdue for an SWC title. The team that dominated the conference in the '60s and early '70s is fresh off a Cotton Bowl victory, and they will be strong and confident. With new coach Jackie Sherrill's prototype offense, Texas A&M could be the surprise team of the conference. The Aggies are ripe for a conference title. The Baylor Bears backfield has been decimated by graduation, and Grant Tapp will have to call upon the services of untested players to carry the ball. At TCU, flashy split end Stanley Washington could lead the nation in receptions. The Rice Owls could pull more than a few upsets in a tough schedule with quality quarterback Michael Calhoun. From top to bottom, the SWC should present an exciting mixture of gifted runners and quality passers. Pigskin Preview will return after these messages from your local stations. In the Midwest, the Big Ten should be a study of superpowers and super struggles. Michigan is recovering from the loss of Butch Woolfolk and most of the offensive line. But when you look at their aerial connection, Steve Smith to Anthony Carter, you have to be impressed. Carter is literally grease lightning, fast and slippery, and able to strike at any moment. If the defense can hold down the scores until the offense gels, Bo Schembechler's Wolverines should be tough to beat. Ohio State is looking at the post-Art Schlichter era, and the outlook is bright. Earl Bruce has a few golden-armed candidates in the wings and a massive offensive line to give them all the security they'll need. After last year's Liberty Bowl victory, the Buckeyes will focus their thoughts on the Rose Bowl. The Boilermakers of Purdue, under new coach Leon Burnett, are blessed with magnificent quarterback Scott Campbell, who should become the next chapter in Purdue's record-breaking line of quarterbacks. Aiden Fry will have to create another miracle for a repeat of the '81 Big Ten title. With only 2 returning defensive starters, things look tough for the Iowa Hawkeyes. For Lee Corso's Hoosiers, lack of depth could be a big problem. But with a generous amount of big plays and a little luck, don't be surprised if Indiana breaks from the starting gate with a vengeance. In 1981, the Northwestern Wildcats set an NCAA record in frustration with the most consecutive losses in major college football.
And you games, boy, they take the life out of you. I'm just a sophomore.
The Wildcats were caught in a recruiting catch-22. How can you get blue-chip athletes if you don't win? And how can you win if you don't get blue-chip athletes? Perhaps the key to breaking the cycle is the potent air attack that second-year coach Dennis Green has installed in the Cats' game plan. If Green can build a defense, the victory-starred fans will finally be rewarded for their patience, and a long-awaited celebration will fill the quiet campus. In contrast to Northwestern, Notre Dame has enjoyed a long history of winning football. When you play in Notre Dame Stadium, you play in the shadows of some of the greatest players and coaches in college history. The immortal Knute Rockne became one of the most popular coaches of all time here. And Frank Leahy and Ara Parseghian built teams that were powerhouses year in and year out. In '81, new coach Jerry Faust arrived from Moeller High School with the support and high hopes of Irish fans everywhere. After an opening day victory over LSU, the Irish were rated #1 in the polls, and the fans' expectations for another great season seemed secure. But an awesome schedule quickly derailed Notre Dame's #1 ranking, and for the first time since 1963, the Irish were facing a losing season. However, this year, Coach Faust and his team are optimistic that they will learn from last year's mistakes.
I know in the first year it was very difficult for me to analyze talent from other teams because I never had the opportunity to coach against talent on the college level from other teams. But going into this year, I'm aware of what other teams have and the necessities that you need in your program to compete with the other teams. And so I think in the long run we'll be much better off.
Last year we were beaten up front a lot because we weren't as strong as some of the teams we played. And I think that our off-season program this year, as far as our quickness program and the weightlifting program with a head weight coach, it really helped us.
It's going to be an entirely different season for us next year in that they'll be seeing a different type Notre Dame football. They've never seen a mad Notre Dame football team.
With 19 starters returning and a huge stock of blue-chip recruits filling out the ranks, Notre Dame will have one of the deepest and most balanced attacks in the nation. In '82, it seems certain that the proud tradition of the Irish will carry on. For every school around the country, the traditions and fun on Saturday make the game special and unique. College games are played for school spirit and personal pride.
Football is fun. You know, in high school, you begin to worry about when you get to college, it's going to be a business. You're going to have to put in the hours. You have to work hard. And if you don't make the grind, they're going to run you off and this, that, and the other. But it's not that way at all. It's still football, and it's still fun. And they want to keep it that way. And that's the way we work best and play best.
Stay tuned for a look inside college life.
The Florida Keys and Milwaukee, Wisconsin are a whole country apart. But to these guys, they both mean something great. The Keys mean stone crab, big and fresh. And Milwaukee means beer, cold, crisp, old Milwaukee. And the smooth, golden light taste of old Milwaukee Light. And man, what they made for food like this.
And old Milwaukee.
And old Milwaukee Light.
Tastes as great as its name.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Business is so quiet. You could read the books here.
That book by the phone can help. The Bell System Yellow Pages.
Free parking, free delivery. That's Fred. Fred's Furniture next door. Oh, he does a great business.
Where beautiful hair is a tradition.
That's Miss Claire. Oh, is she busy?
Sure, the Bell System Yellow Pages talks to people when they let their fingers do the walking and are ready to talk business.
I'm ready.
Get the Yellow Pages talking.
We're big on books.
Let your fingers do the walking.
From Monday to Friday, college athletics means college academics. A college education is an important asset in life. And for the players and coaches, a college education remains the #1 ingredient for success.
I'm Charlie McClendon, Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association. Every coach knows that for the thousands of student athletes in America, the difference between failure and success in life is a college education. Football is a Saturday's game, but your schoolwork is a lifetime project.
Miami's star quarterback Jim Kelly will probably be a first-round draft pick, but he is looking ahead to the years when his football playing days are over. A local Miami bank serves as a vocational classroom where Jim can get first-hand experience in his field of study.
The problem we had with this file, Jim, was that when the customer came in and requested a loan some time ago, it was represented to us that we would have a second mortgage on his home.
I've been really studying very hard in the last 4 years, and I'm going in my 5th year. And it's just a matter of getting into your books and studying and not having as much social life as you really would want in a college. If you really want to get into your major, it's best to study when you can and when you have your spare time. And it's best to just have a really good major, and mine's business, and banking is a very good interest to go into, and I'm just looking forward to it.
At the University of Nebraska, the winner of last year's Outland Trophy, Dave Remington, is an All-American in the classroom as well as in the weight room.
Well, I think if you're competitive, it goes on and off the field. And for me, I'm really competitive on the field and off, too. And I compete with other people for grades, too. You know, I think it's natural. When you're in a college setting, the way the job market is, you have to have good grades in order to get a job. And so I'm doing my best.
Dave has been confronted with the image of athletes as non-students.
Well, you try to put down an image like that, and I try to work hard at bringing up the image of an athlete. And you know, all you can do is work at your schoolwork, and I really don't let it bother me. I've been called a jock a lot of times.
Dave is being called the most dominating lineman in college since John Hanna. As the ultimate accolade, Dave was the first center ever named Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year. But for Dave, academics come first.
I've seen a lot of college football players that get their degree, and they're out washing dishes and doing things I really don't want to do. So for me, it's a way for me. If I don't make it in football, it'll allow me to be successful in another area.
Able to bench press over 400 pounds and squat 650 pounds, Dave has plenty of strength to add to an already tough Husker line. Nebraska might match last year's untarnished Big 8 title because flashy I-backs Roger Craig and Mike Rozier are both returning. The defense has lost All-American Jimmy Williams, but they will still be one of the most impenetrable anywhere, as opponents will quickly learn. When the Huskers post a no trespassing sign, they are serious. When you talk Big 8, you have to talk about Oklahoma. But for Barry Switzer's team to bounce back from last year's 7-4-1 season, the runners will have to keep their hands glued to the pigskin. If Stanley Wilson's switch from fullback to halfback is a success, the team could gel sooner than expected. Missouri returns 45 lettermen from last year's Tangerine Bowl champs. But loss of their number 1 and 2 rushers and most of a defense that ranked 7th nationally last year will be major areas of concern. The hard-hitting Oklahoma State Cowboys live by defense, but this year the offense will have to pull its own weight. Bells will be ringing in opponents' heads as Kerwin and Dino Bell rack up the yards for the Kansas Jayhawks. 82 will be a year of challenge for Donnie Duncan's Cyclones. Iowa State returns 15 starters, but they will still be looking for a starting tailback and quarterback. Kansas State's defense should be healthy with the return of newcomer of the year Reggie Singletary and 9 other starters. New Colorado coach Bill McCartney will find that no coaching wizardry can make up for lack of depth. However, Coach McCartney will quickly realize that he could not pick a more exciting and colorful conference than the Big 8 to begin his career.
When our band's cooking, the music smokes. But not me, because like a lot of my friends, I use Skoal smokeless tobacco. I just take a pinch of that good-tasting wintergreen flavored Skoal between my cheek and gum, and it gives me real tobacco pleasure without ever lighting up. So when you want something that smokes, listen to the Charlie Daniels Band. But when you want real tobacco enjoyment without smoking, try Skoal. A pinch is all it takes. Thank you. We appreciate it.
On the West Coast, and especially in Palo Alto, the aerial assault is definitely more than a passing fancy.
If you're taking the job at Stanford, I think the #1 question you will be asked in the interview is, are you going to throw the football? And if you're not going to throw the football, I don't care if you're Newt Rockne, you're probably not going to get the job. And so that's part of Stanford. That goes with Stanford. It's just part of the life here.
Head coach Paul Wiggin might be one of the luckiest coaches in America. In a poll of coaches and pro scouts, only 2 players received perfect 10 scores. Tailback Herschel Walker and Stanford's baseball football whiz.
John Elway is, I think, probably as great a quarterback as I've ever seen. And I'm talking about at any level, just in the clear-cut sense of throwing the football, command in the huddle, command on the field, just a competitive ability, the competitive spirit that he has, the ability to move around in the pocket, all of those things. If you're scaling 1 to 10, he's a 10 in all of those areas. And I think because of that, he's a great player.
An outfielder with a .361 average, Elway has such a strong arm that receivers complain of the Elway cross, an X-shaped bruise left by the end of the football hitting them.
Well, you know, they've done a good job. I think it's not really, if you're just starting off to catch it, it's a little tough. But I don't think once, you know, you start catching my ball and getting used to my ball, it's that much tougher than catching the other ball. It gets there a little quicker. But I think, you know, once the guys catch it over and over and over, it becomes easy for them.
Whether it's Danny Marino throwing the bomb, Jim Kelly hitting a receiver slanting in, or John Elway rifling his receivers with rocket shots of pigskin, the pass has become the quickest and most exciting route to Touchdown City. The quarterback is the coach on the field and is forced to consistently make split-second readjustments. Despite a sprained right ankle, a chipped bone in his left hand, and a mild concussion, John Elway has been consistently brilliant. He enters his senior year with 53 touchdowns and over 6,000 yards passing, and is being talked about as the type of player who could be a leading contender for the Heisman Trophy. The 82 Pac-10 race should be both exciting and unpredictable.
Pac-10 is a great conference, and year in and year out, it's a great conference. You know, a year ago, everybody was talking USC as they always talk, and Washington as they always talk, and yet here comes a Washington State along and plays extremely well. It'll be interesting to see what Cal does with a Joe Kapp at the helm, at the head coaching position. UCLA is always a challenger. Oregon this last year got Kevin Wilhite recruiting one of the premier high school running backs. It'll be interesting to see what he does for their program. You know, as you look across the Pac-10, the Arizona schools speak for themselves. They have really become highly competitive in the Pac-10 when they went from Pac-8 to the Pac-10. It's an unbelievable conference, and it's an exciting conference because they play football the way I like to see it played. You see the ball in the air a lot. You see a very balanced type of an attack. It's a great conference, and it's great competition.
Defending 2-time Pac-10 champ Washington enters the 82 season with a national championship caliber crew. After the first Rose Bowl shutout in 28 years, a 28-0 victory over Iowa, Don James Huskies have the experience and confidence to take the first national title in the history of the university. The Trojans suffered some important losses to graduation, but at USC, when one All-American graduates, another takes his place. The defense should be as awesome as ever with players like sophomore Jack Del Rio. Even if a replacement can't be found for tailback Marcus Allen, the defense will win a few games by itself. UCLA will be making a strong case for their first Rose Bowl visit since 1976. The Bruins have a brilliant air attack, and with 15 returning starters, including huge tackle Irv Eatman, they will be applying solid pressure on opponents from both sides of the line. If UCLA survives a tough schedule, this could be the year that Terry Donahue's team packs its bags for Pasadena. At Cal, Joe Kapp will add discipline and daring moves to the Golden Bears' attack. The 1981 National Offense champs, Arizona State, will have a hard time racking up another 5,500 yards as every single offensive starter has graduated. In the Western Athletic Conference, a Jim McMahon-less Brigham Young should still be the top dog. Steve Young, the great-great-great-grandson of Brigham Young, will take over as quarterback, and BYU will fly the football as much as ever. Even though the passing game has become the passion of fans across the country, no look at college football would be complete without a look at a young man who may become the greatest runner in the history of the game. We'll be right back with a look at football's top dog. Perfect aerodynamics. Even though he is 220 pounds, he cuts through the wind as if it were empty space. He is 6 feet of gliding muscle and perfect balance. He is the ultimate football weapon. He is Herschel Walker. Herschel is a breathless combination of O.J. Simpson and Earl Campbell. And the only surprise about his career is to see if there will be one all-time NCAA record that will remain standing in his run to glory. After finishing third in the Heisman balloting in his first year and second last year, he is the odds-on favorite in '82. He is not only one of the fastest human beings on the face of the earth, he is also one of the most bruising, hard-nosed runners ever to put on a helmet. Opponents are given a choice: fall in a flash of pure speed or in a brutal collision. Either way, Herschel Walker emerges as the master of ceremonies.
There's 3 things that make him very special. This tremendous combination of size and speed, which in itself is the reason that perhaps separates him from any other athlete or running back that I've ever been around, because I've never seen this great combination of size, and he's big, and speed, and he's fast. But in addition to that, he also has those intangible qualities that makes for an All-American. Despite this tremendous exposure that he gets, he has the complete respect of his teammates and of his coaches. And to me, that pretty well sums up Herschel Walker, who is a great athlete, but also a very special person.
Some people say I'm a power runner, some say that I'm fast, but I think I'm a surprising runner. I surprise a lot of people. There's not too many defensive backs can tell what I'm going to do. I think I have the power to really take a lot of people on. I have the speed to go around people. And right now, I think I have the quickness to maneuver people better. If I just want to go out there and play, I want to get that opportunity to compete on, go one-on-one with someone, at least see how good I am, because I really don't know.
In the world of athletics, there are average performers and there are great performers. And then there is Herschel Walker, a man who lets his actions speak louder than any words ever could. A lot has changed on the gridiron since players like number 44, Jim Brown, roam freely on the field. But every decade has its superstars and great games. After 112 years of growth, the game has become tactical warfare, waged with computer-aided coaching and scientifically trained athletes. But on Saturdays, football is still football. Fast, exciting, and unpredictable. The color and drama of college football is what makes it fun for the fans. And 1982 promises to be one of the greatest seasons in college football history. Although the stands are now empty, it won't be long before every hometown stadium is filled with the deafening cheers of the crowd.